looks ridiculous. Biscuit Street.
It's booze, isn't it? It's free.
Welcome to New Orleans. We spent 3 days here in the height of summer, and this is everything we did, we saw, and we ate in that time. We started off with this fantastic trip on the paddle boat. It was a must-do whilst we were in New Orleans, and we got this one on Groupon, so we got it at a good cost. It was 2.5 hours, I believe, and it's marketed as a jazz cruise, as you saw from the beginning, with those lovely trumpeters. So the trip took us down the Mississippi River and started out fantastically with some glorious sunshine, but soon the heavens opened, and I mean torrentially. But we enjoyed it nonetheless, playing around with our umbrellas, and Paul finally got to try an alligator sausage, and he thoroughly enjoyed it. I'm really glad that he got to try lots of different things whilst we were in New Orleans. There's more on the food towards the end of this video, and it was just fantastic everywhere we ate. The cruise was, like I say, 2.5 hours. We had a few drinks and were merry by the time we got off, so despite the rain, we've really enjoyed it. Another must-do when visiting New Orleans is to take a trip out to the swamps and see the alligators. There's a full video coming on this soon, but don't miss out on the opportunities to see these fantastic creatures in their natural habitats. And as you can see here, Paul also got to pet a 1-year-old alligator on the boat. Shout out to Captain Ernie. There are plenty of things to see and do in New Orleans, one of which was a Voodoo walking tour. Now, we visited in the height of summer, and turns out we were the only two on the tour, which made things slightly awkward, but we enjoyed walking around and seeing lots of different aspects of Voodoo culture in the French Quarter of New Orleans, including some houses where mysterious deaths took place, like this one. I think the heat had gotten to our tour guide as well, and to be honest, the end of the tour was just a little bit like, okay, bye. Never mind. A fantastic activity that you can check out in New Orleans is the Sazerac House Museum. This is a free activity which has a museum and cocktail tastings along the way. The museum itself has plenty of information about alcohol throughout the ages, the Sazerac brand, and Prohibition. Sazerac is one of America's oldest family-owned spirit companies, with its roots going back to an 1800s New Orleans coffee house where the famous Sazerac cocktail was born. Today, the company owns over 450 brands worldwide, from Buffalo Trace Bourbon to Fireball. It's my kind of man. Pharmacist by day, bartender by night. Fun fact, the way they got over Prohibition in Louisiana was to classify alcohol as food, which is an ingenious way to get around those rules. But we always say, eating is cheating.
This is a sipping cocktail. If you shoot it, you might go, ooh, because it's very strong. Please finish before the stairs, okay? I don't want anyone falling, especially because I don't remember my first aid training. So you are on your own. I'm kidding, I can dial 911. Our final step is this lemon peel. I had just added rye whiskey, patience bitters, and sugar. We've got recipe cards, history booklets. Remember, no stairs until after your cups are done.
Thank you. So this was our first time trying the Sazerac cocktail. It's got a nice kick of rye whiskey. It's a little sweet and has that licorice undertone from the absinthe. Paul preferred it, I didn't love it. It's definitely a sip and savour kind of drink, we think. And as she mentioned, let's be a bit careful on those stairs. We then moved on to this interactive bar experience where you choose a barmaid, you choose a cocktail, and they explain how it's made. Good fun.
The split basin has rum and gin with grenadine and lemon juice.
That was us trying a gimlet, much more up my street, sweet and classy.
This is using our Wheatley vodka. Atmospheric bitters, which is this guy right here. This is going to add a lot of that nuance. You're going to get it in there, a little bit of that chai spice, genishin root, angelica, fresh squeezed lime juice, and a little sugar.
This distillery is the site of the original distillery for the Sazerac company. Due to its size, it can only make small batches currently, but they have other productions elsewhere. No trip to New Orleans is complete without a visit to the Jazz Museum. Luckily for us, the weekend we were visiting, there was a free festival going on to celebrate Louis Armstrong's birthday, or should I say, Louis Armstrong's birthday. This meant we got access to the Jazz Museum completely for free, and we spent an hour or two wandering around the great exhibits. As part of the festival, they had some live music on, which we enjoyed in the piano room. The first floor of the Jazz Museum is the former site of the US Mint. Paul was totally geeking out over the coins, the history, how money's made. He is an accountant after all. Me, not so much. Let's just say one of us was fascinated by shiny quarters and the other was calculating how many cocktails that money could buy. Priorities, right? Biscuit Street. And of course, no trip to New Orleans is complete without a visit to the famous Bourbon Street, or Biscuit Street as we like to call it. It's very loud and busy, lots of neon lights, giant daiquiris and party vibes that go on late into the night. It is the tourist hub of the French Quarter. However, one area of New Orleans that often gets forgotten in videos is Frenchmen Street. Frenchmen Street is where the locals go. It's smaller venues, live jazz, and more about the music than the chaos. Think of it this way, Bourbon Street is the hangover, Frenchmen Street is the soul. We really enjoyed spending time on both. New Orleans is basically heaven for foodies. Our first stop was Café du Monde for these beignets, piled so high with powdered sugar. Messy, sweet, and totally worth wearing half on your clothes for the rest of the day. And here's where Paul turns himself into Hulk Hogan with that moustache. Next, we tried out a Creole restaurant. Paul went straight for the fried oysters and was in absolute food heaven. Meanwhile, I played it safe with a burger, which turned out to be, well, pretty average to be honest. Lesson learned, in New Orleans, stick to the Creole classics if you want the magic. Next up, we stopped for po' boys. Paul went for a classic New Orleans with a fried catfish po' boy and even had a side of jambalaya, because why not go all in? I, on the other hand, decided on steak, which was good, but not exactly what the city is famous for. Po' boys actually go back to the 1920s when two brothers gave out free sandwiches to streetcar workers when they were on strike. They were called poor boys, which got shortened to po' boys, and today they are the ultimate New Orleans comfort food. A completely new one on us was deep fried green tomatoes. Paul really enjoyed these, crispy on the outside, tangy in the middle, and overall really enjoyable. And finally was crawfish étouffée. It's like a hug in a bowl, rich, buttery, a little spicy, with crawfish and a silky sauce over rice. Pure New Orleans comfort food. I even reminded Paul to save some bread for mopping up that sauce at the end, but of course, he was enjoying it too much and forgot.